What is going on, guys? And welcome to Talking Jets with Tigo. We're going to be doing a post-game live stream so we can talk, New York Jets, talk what we saw from this game. There was a lot of really, really cool things, a lot of not so good things. There was just a lot going on, and I wanted to talk about it because it feels nice to talk when a New York Jets win, especially when you win, like this in this fashion. It's not an easy win. It's not an easy W. It's not something that comes easy for the New York Jets most of the time. But we did it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We won the game, and you love to see it. That being said, there's a lot to talk about it. We got to talk about Zach. We got to talk about his run game. We got to talk about his offensive line. We got to talk about the pass catchers. We got to talk everything. So let's hop right into it. So we will have some guests joining us later in the stream. Very, very excited for that, but that'll happen a little bit later down the line. We're gonna solo dolo it for a little bit while we're going here. If you're in the chat and you stop by, please leave a like. It really helps the channel. And any updates on the games that are going on, that's actually what I'm doing right now, is checking my fantasy football. Make sure, because this is the first week that it looks like I'm going to win. Derek Carr looking absolutely atrocious, but looks like I'm going to win that game. Super, super good. Super, super fun. Let's check the other game real quick. Boom, I have 201 points in this other league. I am winning. T. Higgins giving me 41 points. Gotta love it. Brandon Cooks with 22. Thielen with 19. Garrett Wilson underperforming, but who cares because Zach Wilson, 27 points for me. Gotta love it. And then one more fantasy league to check, and then we'll hop right into it. Still looks pretty 50-50. I cannot believe I left J.K. Dobbins and T. Higgins on the bench for this one. And Jamal Williams for Detroit. I left them all on the bench. Instead, I decided to run Christian McCaffrey and Ramondre Stevenson at running back, and I hope to God that this works out for me. Because Mark Andrews, bust. Drake London, bust. Garrett Wilson, not super great right now. So, in the flex. So, lots of question marks going for me on my fantasy football league right now. But I can still win that game because the other guy also has a bunch of busts. But let's talk New York Jets win. Big win from the New York Jets this game. And I think the biggest thing that we saw from the Jets this game is that there's no quit. There was no quit from this team. Up until the last second of the last play of this game, the Jets were fighting and pushing and playing hard and trying to be disruptive, trying to get in the middle of things. It was dynamic. And like I said, you love the heart that you saw from this team, because we did see dynamic, energetic, positive play from this New York Jets team all the way up until the last second, all the way up until there was no other option, So you love to see it. What? Okay, sorry. I thought I saw some important news for Max Mitchell, which, again, unfortunate that he got hurt. Guys, I'm a little scatterbrained. I don't know if you can tell. Just a little bit scatterbrained in with the win, and it's just because, like, there's so many things that I want to talk about. There's so many things that I want to talk about, and I just don't know which ones to pick. So let's start with some positive stuff. I think I mentioned the no quit. This team showed no inability to like give in and fold. If we were the same old Jets, if we were the Jets teams of old, what we would have seen from this team is a team that goes into the half down 20-10, and we're trotting out We're literally trotting out. We're jogging. We're not taking this game serious anymore. We're writing it off as a loss, and we didn't see that from this team. We were down, and we let Pittsburgh score 20 unanswered points. Unanswered points. And a lot of Jets fans, I saw it on Twitter. Don't try to hide it. I saw it. A lot of fans, a lot of reporters, a lot of everything was like, this game's in the books. It's over. The Jets lost. But again, you look at it and you say, you know what? This team doesn't have any quit, has the drive, and we're going to march down the field, and we're going to win this game. Zach going 10 of 12. 10 of 12 at the end of and then that fourth quarter in the last two drives, absolutely great. It was just, what's up, Iowan? Thank you for stopping by, my good sir. Dude, can you believe this win? Can you believe this win? Woo! Out of this world. Insane, insane views. Zach Wilson, I think Nick Shine said it best in the Buffalo Jet fan immediately after the game preview or game, is that Zach Wilson finally got some hair on his chest after that game, right? Like, we saw flashes of Zach last year, but champions and legends, this is all from Nick Shine. I'm directly stealing this quote. Champions and legends are made in the final 2 minutes of games. Tom Brady isn't the GOAT because he was flawless for 60 minutes a game. He's the GOAT because in the last 2 minutes of the game, he was flawless. In the last 2 minutes of the game, he won the game. And the thing that you like to hear is that Zach Wilson, before they go on that last drive, going up to his teammates and go, let's effing score a touchdown. That's the that you want, from your quarterback. And I think, Io, you said it great here. It was a legit NFL football game, and you're absolutely right. That's exactly what this was. This was the New York Jets playing an NFL football game at an NFL caliber, and you'll love to see it. Super, super duper fantastic. And it just goes to show, the growth that we didn't get to see in the offseason. Right? Zach Wilson, this last year, Zach would have made a lot of these things that he was doing this game would have gone the other way. A great example of that is the Cam Hayward forced fumble, pick up, throw the ball away so that it's an incomplete pass and it's not a sack, right? While on the stat sheet, he probably cares about that, and he cares about that a lot more, like getting sacked or whatever. That's a live to play it, see another down kind of a move. That's what that is, and that's what Zach did, right? I'm gonna toss the ball away. I'm gonna yeet it out of the way so that we can live to see another down. It'll be 2nd and 10 and not 2nd and 15. The other thing is his escapability. I was watching this game with 2 Steelers fans, and constantly you just kept hearing from them. It's like, oh my God, Zach, how the crap did he get away from that? His escapability was absolutely on display today. But here's the thing, is that he partners that escapability. He partnered his maneuvering and shifting in and out and getting out of plays and all of that stuff. He partnered all of that with smart football IQ. What he did was he got the ball and threw it out of bounds. Let me not force plays. Let me not force passes. It's Kenny Pickett made that mistake when he tried to throw the ball to Pat Freiermuth, right? We create a bunch of pressure. He throws the ball into a not great spot. He probably shouldn't have put it there. And what happens? He throws the ball high, sails it to Pat Freiermuth. Sauce comes in and disrupts the pass because Sauce is a pass disruptor. And Michael Carter is there to make the interception. If that was Zach last year and he's under pressure, he's trying to fit that ball in to a wide receiver, and he didn't do that today. And you love to see that. Let's say there's some new chats in here. I win. If this was him, Rusty, I can't wait for next week. Absolutely, man. And the great thing to think about going into next week. And next week is going to be a difficult game. None of this is going to be easy moving forward, right? Like, we have a pretty rough schedule coming up. But the good thing is that Miami is reeling from a big injury, with Tua, and you gotta expect that organization is shaken up a little bit. But here's the real big problem that I have is, like, these are 3 teams that we're facing back to back that are coming off of Thursday night games, coming into to play the Jets. They have 10 days to prepare for us, but prepare all you want. Zach is that dude. So Nick Shine said it, and while I'm not as optimistic as he said, why can't we just run October? Why can't we beat the Dolphins and Green Bay and Denver and New England? Like, we should absolutely be in all of these games. Dark Soldier in the chat, thank you for stopping by. I hope you're wearing your Zach Wilson is good t-shirt and all of that stuff, because I know you have one. I sent it to you. So I know you have it. And dude, you're absolutely right. We spent all week, all content creators, all the Jets fans, everybody, we spent all week absolutely annihilating LaMarcus Joyner. Annihilating him. And he comes in and he has a game like that. What is it? 2 interceptions. And I think it's like 2 interceptions, 6 tackles, 4 passes defended. Like, he legitimately, he might have been our best player on defense this game. And that's a crazy thing to say. That LaMarcus Joyner, the guy that we were all ready to punt to the moon, might have been our best player on defense. It's crazy. Daniel Faust, thank you for stopping by and doing all that and being in here. And yeah, this game is great. Feels great. I'm great. Iowa in 2 interceptions and was the cause of a 3rd. Yeah, man. Like, that play to me, that play where he is leading and running in front of Chase Claypool, right? And Kenny Pickett does his job. He throws the ball behind the safety, who's in full sprint, trying to keep up with a fast Chase Claypool. And to have the wherewithal and the body control at 30 to jump up into the air, hand back, deflect the ball, and to get, dude, absolutely spectacular out of LaMarcus Joyner. You love to see it. And now it goes to show why I think this franchise has been playing at him, because we're not there at every practice. We don't get to see what LaMarcus Joyner is doing in the workout rooms and in the meeting rooms and all of those things. All we get to see is Sundays, right? And no one's going to defend him over the last 3 Sundays. He's been abysmal over the last 3 Sundays. We all know that. But the fact that this is why I think they kept him and why they believed in Joyner and why they're asking him to play at safety over some of the other guys is because I don't know if Tony Adams is making that play. I don't know if Ashton Davis is making that play. I don't know. Like, truthfully and honestly, and as much as I would love to see those guys play so that we can know what we have at safety, LaMarcus Joyner was a impactful player on defense today. He was a high impact player on defense. He meant a lot to what this team was doing and what this defense was able to accomplish. And I'm going to give credit to Buffalo Jet fan on this one. He mentioned earlier in a late night live stream that we did that it almost seemed like this team was talking too much leading up to snaps and trying to do too much. Trying to do too much leading up to to the snap of the ball on defense, and you could see that this team was much, much better at that. They weren't overly, doing anything. They weren't overly aggressive. They weren't overly dude, they just played the game, and you got to give Jeff Ulbrich credit for calling a good defensive game. And before I go to this comment, Iowan, a lot of people need to start putting some respect on Jeff Ulbrich's name. Honestly, Iowan, yes, give me a second. I'm going to go get one. That's not even a joke. When my guest comes in here, I'm going to let them run for a little bit because I have to go. I have Arizona. I have a giant jug. I just finished this one yesterday, so I had to replace it. It's in the fridge. I got to go get it. But Ulbrich has been coaching up a league average defense, and that's huge. Huge. Because before this game, at almost every measurable statistic, the New York Jets defense has been league average. But because of the 3 or 4 big blown plays that people were focusing on, everyone just assumed that we were the same old Jets defense. And we aren't. We stopped the run effectively. We're good at stopping the pass. We're kind of a solid defense. If we can get better on third downs, woo, we're going to have to see that. But here, from Iowa Jets fan, Ashton Davis damn near had a pick too. Absolutely. Dude, Ashton Davis, this is going to be a really, 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 really bad example, okay? I need everybody to take a beat before they come and hound on me for making this comparison, okay? But Ashton Davis has a little bit of that Minka gene in him. Now, let me explain. I'm not saying that Ashton Davis is as good as Minka Fitzpatrick, but what I'm saying is Minka Fitzpatrick has the ability to always be near the ball. Always be somewhere in and around where the ball is. Ashton Davis has a very similar skill set. The thing that Ashton Davis doesn't do is make the plays on the ball. And that's what we need to see him do better of. We need to see him take that step where he is at the next level and making plays on the ball. But he knows and has a pretty good instinct of where the ball is going and how to be around it. He's shown us that. And that's why I like Ashton Davis and why I want to give him some reps. Talked about that. You need Arizona T to combat those yards. Absolutely. Sleep-deprived Papa syndrome kicking in heavily. Zach said he knew they were going to score on that last drive. Absolutely, man. You got to go up to your players and you got to be like, no, we got to win right here, right now. That's what we're going to do. And he said that, and we're doing it. Dark, how is Green Bay losing to New England? Crazy stat. If Green Bay is down in any part of the game, Rodgers has a losing record. Really? If they're not leading? He's never won a game where he hasn't been leading? Crazy. I don't know what this terrible is at, Iowa, and whether that's at my take at probably at my take, if we're being honest, about Ashton Davis kind of having a Minka-ish genes, if we're being real. But super, super fun and exciting times. Oh, you're right. I just need to read. Dude, I got a kid. I don't sleep. Sleep is hard. I don't have sleep. What did you guys, I'm going to ask the chat this so that we can talk about that. What did you guys think were key moments of the game outside of the Zach last-minute drives? What do you think were big plays? Who do you think were big contributors so that we can talk about it? And Robert S., thank you for stopping by the stream. You're absolutely right, dude. Absolutely right. Zach was so clutch down the stretch. 10 of 12 for 128 yards and a touchdown to win the game in overtime. And the thing that I really, really liked about this was that Zach was marching up and down the sideline and telling all of his players, we're going to go down this, we're going to march down this field, and we're going to go effing score. And he did it. You know what I mean? And he did it. And I love to see that out of Zach. Oh, Dark, James, I'll get your thing because Dark's thing popped up right when I was clicking on it. But Dark Soldier, his specific thing is turnovers. You win the turnover battle and you should take home the win. Absolutely, man. To have 4 turnovers in one game, and we had one stolen from us. Remember, because of a dumb penalty? When you're winning the turnover battle, you win games. And we have the players in this secondary to create turnovers, and we gotta be dynamic in those situations. You have to be able, and this is why I was never a big fan of Bryce Hall, because Bryce Hall doesn't create turnovers. Bryce stops people from catching the ball. And what you want from your corners and what you want from your players is people who who create turnovers. That's what we want. James Luongo, thank you for stopping by. Jets, good execution. Game plan, used our assets. Everyone stepped up. Joiner, wow. Zach, you demand. Love the Philly special. No vanilla today. Yes, I think that's a great comment out of James here. That last one specifically. No vanilla today. We finally got to see what this playbook looks like when it gets opened up. We finally got to see what Mike LaFleur is trying to do with this offense when Zach is under center. And that's a big, big deal because obviously Zach is our franchise quarterback, and we weren't able to see a fully opened up playbook against any other team because Joe Flacco was under center. But now that we have the escapability of Zach Wilson, this O-line is going to look a little bit better. And the players are going to look a lot better. We had 7 different pass catchers this game. The creativity out of Mike LaFleur is going to come out because we have creative and dynamic players at the wide receiver room, in the running back room, and in under center at quarterback. Insane. And Robert S., you're absolutely correct. Those kinds of drives at the end of the game is what creates character. That's how you win games. I was talking about this earlier, Robert. You do not win football games in the first 58 minutes. You win football games in the last 2 minutes. Tom Brady is going to go down as the GOAT of the GOAT quarterback of all time, not because he could play 60 minutes flawlessly. It's because no matter what happened in the first 58 minutes, in the last 2 minutes, he was flawless. When it was time to win a game, he was flawless. When it was time to put the team on his back, he put the team on his back, and he was flawless. And that is what you like to see. And this is a big improvement because last year in the 2-minute drill, what did we see? We saw an impressive Zach, but we couldn't close it out. The Tampa game, to be specific. This game, not only were we decisive and dynamic in the last 2 minutes, like we saw from Zach last year, but we closed it out. And that's a character trait that this team needs to hold on to. Closing out games. Woo! Let us. Ooh, I got the porn bots. Look at that. I must have made it big. Oh crap. I must be big time now. Gotta get the porn bots out. I didn't have my chat and I didn't have all that stuff ready. No! Boom. Gone. Bye-bye. You're out of here. But yeah, no, absolutely. Insane from this team. Love to see it. I think this defense, man, we finally got to see the benefits and the positives of this rotation from this team, and I really enjoyed the fact that, JJ, our first-round pick, finally got to see game action, and I think that that's important because I think the world of Jermaine Johnson. I think Jermaine Johnson is a good NFL edge player. He's so good at solidifying and cutting in, everything about the team. I was just asking the chat, what do you think is what do you guys think are the important parts of this game? Like, obviously outside of Zach's last 2 minutes, right? But who do you think showed up? What important thing did you see from this game that you would like to mention? And yeah, man. It's a good team. It's a good team We've finally got the pieces, and we beat. I think the biggest thing is that of all of the guys and all of the people that were asked about, is this still happening? How? Jesus, how am I still getting the porn bots? No, it's like I said, it's a statement win. It's a character building win. And this is against a team that not a single reporter had us beating. Not a single one. Everybody who went to predict this game predicted the Steelers. They were wrong. They were wrong. There were Jets fans who predicted the Steelers, and they were wrong. And I think the biggest thing that I'm going to say about this, while I wait for more chats and things to come in, is that Robert Saleh today outdueled Mike Tomlin. And that's what he did. Mike Tomlin continues to play down to his opponent's level, continues to mismanage the game in and out of, mismanage the in-game situations. And you can see that by the fact that they had to wait until the second half to play Kenny Pickett. Why is Kenny Pickett only starting at this point? The Steelers' offense looked so dynamic and so different after Kenny Pickett came in. Why did it take you so long to get that going? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But their mistake is our victory, and we won that game. And let's talk about the Minka comment. First of all, screw you, Minka. You're not a better team than us. You're not a more skilled team than us. You don't have better wide receivers. You don't have a better offensive line. You don't have a better quarterback. You don't have better running backs. The only positions on this football team where your team is at, factually and fundamentally better than the New York Jets is you at safety and then maybe your center. Everybody else, I'm taking the Jets roster over you guys. I'm taking Quinnen Williams over Cam Hayward. I'm taking Carl Lawson and JJ over Hightower. And whoever the other edge is that you guys have. Your linebackers and Miles Jack and Devin Bush are playing absolutely atrocious. Bums. Take your L and walk away. Right? No wonder I try to respect Minka, but it just comes back to the fact dude, you're such a tool. Iowa, Zach was really good on third down. The defense was solid, and Conklin is very hot and cold. Saying that Conklin is very hot and cold is a very, 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 very underrated statement. Conklin is either on fire or ice cold. He is so up and down. So up and down. It's insane when you look at that. How can you go from catching a ball and being dynamic and leaping forward and getting the first down and being a part of a 22-yard play or a 16-yard play or whatever it is, and then the very next play, you don't catch the ball at all? Or you're the direct reason that there's an interception. And while Zach did throw that ball a little hot, you're a pass catcher in the NFL. You got to be able to catch those. You know what I mean? That's just your job. Dark Soldier Iowan, exactly. His third down play was beast mode. Dude, to be able to convert on third and fourth downs as much as he did was insanely insane. It was helpful, super helpful. It's one of the reasons that this team was able to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of the reasons that this team was able to stay in the game. That's the word I'm looking for. They were able to stay in the game so long because of that. Brian Costello said the Steelers 27, Jets 3. Dude, see, again, it's just why? I don't understand the belief that people had in this Steelers team going into it. What were they doing well at all? The Steelers almost objectively ranked against their defense versus our defense lower on almost every single measurable statistic than the New York Jets. They could not stop the run. They could not stop the pass. They had let this sink in for a little bit. They had an even worse third down stop rate than the New York Jets on defense. What are you hanging your hat on? Minkah Fitzpatrick is one player, and while he's a super crazy dynamic player, no one else on that defense was able to create any kind of disruption. And we have to take into consideration that we were playing so hurt on the tackle room. That's why this defensive line was creating a lot of pressure, not because this defensive line is good. And on offense, they weren't getting anything going. They had to bring in a new quarterback to do the things to finally get this offense going. Now, we don't know what this offense is going to look like with Kenny Pickett because he is a objectively better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky, but leading into this game, we all knew that Mitch was starting. What were they doing that made anybody believe that they were going to beat the Jets? It's lazy is what it is. It's people looking at the Gotham Green and saying, you know what? That's an easy loss in the books. Jets lose. Easy breezy. And that's dumb. I win. Yeah, Minka is a tool. You're better than us. Last I checked, you're 0-4. They are actually 1-3. They did win one game, surprise game against the Bengals. But still, dude, you're 1-3. You don't have you can't say anything to anybody ever, because just take your loss, dude. Take your loss with some like a man. You lost. Robert S. When you lose, you shake the man's hand and you tell him good game. The rest is bad gamemanship. Absolutely, that's the thing that gets me upset, man. Is it's just Bush League is what it is to be able to say something like that. No matter what, you always respect the person on the other side of the football field. No matter what they are, no matter how badly you beat them or anything like that. You go, you shake their hand, and you respect them. You could see that even from Mike Tomlin kind of doing a little bit of a jab, but complimenting our safeties. He was ultimately right. Our safeties showed up and showed out today, but still. Yeah, they are 1-3 now, thanks to us. They were 1-2 going into the game. Both the New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers were going into this game 1-2. One of us is at 500, and the other one's season is over. So I'll let you figure out who's who. But man, feeling good, feeling great. Give me a quick second. It's can we talk about Zach hitting the gritty at the end there? It's not a good look, man. It's not a good look. Looked bad. Shouldn't be doing that stuff, man. Not when you look like that. Not when you're it's a bad look. Bad look from that team. I think it goes back to say white men can't dance. Beautiful. Beautiful. Got a guest lined up. It's your boy. Wait, who y'all talking about? We were crapping all over Minka Fitzpatrick, is who we were talking about. But just now I was talking about how Zach should not be dancing because the gritty did not look good. Did not look good at all. Abby, thank you for stopping by, and absolutely, let's go Jets. Great win. Matthew Smith, thank you for stopping by. Such an insane game. I won $180 off of a $2 bet. I predicted the final score. Damn! I was off by 3 points. I said if the game gets played in good weather, it'll end 24-17 Jets. But if it was, because it was expected that it might be a like a mud bowl because Pitt was supposed to play there the night before, and it was raining yesterday, and apparently it was raining hard, so there was the possibility that it was going to be really bad, and I guessed if that's the case, it would be 17-13 Jets, but hey, 24-20, a win's a win. I'll take a win. I don't care. I love it. Max Jones tried the gritty. Dude, people need to stop. Either you can gritty or you can't. Not everybody needs to be grittying, dude. Be creative. Abby predicted 26-17 Jets. That's still close. Oh, Raiders are choking. Dude, I don't know what's going on with the Raiders. I thought the Raiders were going to be a much, much, much better team than they actually are. Matthew Smith, I love how people haven't even acknowledged that we got 4 interceptions. Dude, we got 5 interceptions. What are you talking about? One of them got taken back because of a stupid penalty. Can we talk? I think this is also the first game that the Jets played where we didn't fumble the ball once. Not once did we fumble the ball. We forced 2 fumbles, but we didn't fumble the ball at all. But this defense was solid, man. Like, really, really solid. And we got 3 sacks today. Like, love to see it. Love to see it. Russ slowly coming back to normal. I hope not. I hope that team stays bad. Raiders gave the whole team away by Abby. Maybe. Makes a lot of sense. Joyner. LaMarcus Joyner. Dude, great game out of LaMarcus Joyner. Let's talk LaMarcus Joyner's stat line, right? Let's talk about LaMarcus Joyner's stat line. He had 6 tackles today. One of them was a solo tackle. It's very good, in my opinion. Where is he? He also had 4 passes deflected. 4 of them. You know what else he had today? 2 interceptions. And one of those passes that he deflected turned into another interception for Whitehead, for Jordan Whitehead. He absolutely played out of his mind. And today, yeah, he was a ball hawk today. He was in and around the ball constantly. And you're absolutely right. You got to give credit where credit is due. He did well, man. He did well. I don't even know what to say about that. I can't be high on Joyner today. Yes, great game for him, but come on, it's the Steelers. I'll wait till they face a top team. Look, dude, I get what you're saying, but the only redeeming aspect of the Steelers football team is their wide receiver room. That's the only redeeming aspect of their football team. Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and George Pickens is a very, very, very respectable 1, 2, 3 in the wide receiver room. There are very few wide receiver trios in the NFL that ultimately end up being better than that wide receiver trio. Now, if you were to say that the first part of the game, Mitchell Trubisky's throwing the ball, and the second part of the game, Kenny's throwing the ball, so how great can they be? You're absolutely right. Wide receivers can only be as good as their quarterbacks. But that being said, you got to put some respect on the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiving room. It is arguably one of the only redeeming features of that football team at all. At all. So that is my whole thing. While I'm with you on the, I'm not going to anoint Joyner the safety for ever and years to come. You got to respect what he did against good competition. And he did that against good competition today. Yeah, you go into Pittsburgh and you get a W. Now, the thing that's important is we need to carry that momentum back home. We are 0-2 at home and 2-0 on the road. And while it's great to be road warriors like Sauce tweeted, got to win games at home. You got to get this fan base engaged at home. So let's go in and let's beat Miami next week. And we'll talk about that as the week goes on. Joyner's gone next year. Well, yeah, he's on a 1-year deal, and I assume that we either sign a safety or draft a safety to replace him, but that's next year. That's a problem for next year. You know what I mean? Miami's in a lot of trouble, Abby. Miami's got a lot of things going really, really wrong with what's going on with their team. They're doing a lot of really, really dumb things. The whole Tom Brady, Sean Payton situation, the mishandling of Tua, it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's go Jets. Abby, absolutely. Colorado's last hope. They aren't going to show up against Miami. Been watching this team for years. Yeah, but you haven't watched. See, this is where the negativity. You haven't watched this team for years. Because this isn't the team that the Jets have put on the field for years. Because if this was the New York Jets teams of the past, we don't come in at half looking the way that we did. The Jets team of 5 years ago, under Todd Bowles or under Adam Gase, comes out of that game at the half defeated, deflated. and we lose that game 30-10 because we let them go and score more points. The New York Jets of old don't come back and win that game. At one point in time, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a 96% chance of winning, according to the ESPN stats and predictions and stuff like that. But this team didn't give up, pushed hard, played hard all the way up until the last whistle. So to say that we're not going to show up against Miami it's just being pessimistic to be pessimistic. While, yes, I am being optimistic, in Miami, I'm not saying Miami's a bad team, but to say that Miami's got everything all put together is absolutely not true. They're going to be on a backup quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater. And while Teddy Bridgewater is solid, they're still on a backup quarterback. This offensive line in Miami hasn't been great. The wide receivers are good, but this is, I think, the first time in Miami's schedule where they're going to face legit, and I mean legit, corners, because that's what we have. We have legit corners. Who have they faced at cornerback in the league? The Patriots or whatever, the Ravens or whatever. They played a hurt Bills team. You're going to tell me Eli Apple is a threat? No, I'm taking DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner over most of those corners that they have faced up until now. So we'll have to see what happens against DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner with this wide receiver team. So, yeah, it's your boy. I still have the Dolphins beating y'all just because they are all around a great team. Only weakness is the QB, and Teddy's shown signs of being solid. Jets will fight, but will lose in the fourth quarter, in my opinion. Look, that's absolutely a possibility. But to say that the Jets are, the thing is to say that we're out of this game before the game even starts is where I take offense with it. It's one of those things where it's just that's not true. This team has shown us the ability to fight. That's all it is. That's all it is. Teddy is always one push away from being injured. That is true. Teddy's a backup for a reason. He can't stay healthy, at all. It's your boy. And Ravens aren't anything to just glance over. They had Peters and Humphrey, who are top corner duos. Yeah, but Peters hasn't been Peters is coming off of an injury and playing relatively badly, and isn't Humphreys hurt? No, they both played. And look, I'm not saying that they're a bad corner duo, but DJ Reed objectively has been better than both Humphrey and Peters this year on his own, and Sauce Gardner is just as good as Humphrey or Peters. This is legitimately going to be the best cornerback room that Miami is going to be facing. I'm not sleeping on the Ravens cornerback room because they are and have been solid. You got to respect and give respect where respect is due, and they're doing well. But that being said, they're not as good as the Jets corners. DJ Reed is playing like a top 10 corner right now in the NFL. And while Humphreys and Peters are good, neither one of those are that. And Sauce is playing as a top half corner in the league as well. He got targeted 3 times for 0 receptions today. They're giving him number 1 pass catcher responsibility on this football team, and they're trying to test Sauce, and it is not working out for teams. But you're right here. If the Jets do win, it will be considered an upset. But here's the difference. I won't be surprised. Look, I have us losing this game in my thing because I have us winning the Miami game later in the year because I think the Jets are going to be a better team later in the year. But that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if we win this game because I do believe in this team. We do have a lot of holes, and we do have a lot of things that we need to fix. There's a lot of little mistakes. We got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties and all of these different things. So I'm not saying that we're flawless because we're not. But that being said, we're also not completely out of the game constantly. Abby, keep sleeping on my Jets. Ravens have a good scheme consistently. Dude, they're coached well. Harbaugh's definitely a top 5, top 10 NFL coach every year. He's so good. I love Harbaugh. He's great. Sauce is a gem, absolutely. We can definitely beat Miami. Exactly. I agree. We definitely can beat Miami. I'm not saying that I'm going to say it's a lock. This week I said it was a lock. I said the Jets were beating the Steelers. I said there's no way the New York Jets lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I didn't believe it. I didn't at all. Not a single part of my being believed that at all. But I'm not going to feel that confident. I'll probably predict the Jets to win because I'm probably going to predict the Jets to win on a lot of games because I'm a Jets fan. But it's hard to really get behind that take because Miami, as much as I hate to say it, has been a good team. Colorado's last hope. I'll be back here next week to watch this live stream. You got a new subscriber. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that. I love it when we get new subscribers. I'm trying to build something a little bit different and something a little special here. You know, something that's a... I try not to be like everybody else and all of these other Jets YouTube content creators. I try to have different opinions and different takes. And I think I do a pretty good job at being unique and creative on that front. So thank you so much for hitting the subscribe button. It really, really helps the channel. Guys, we are so close to 2,000 subscribers. We are like 228 subscribers away. Share the channel with all of your Jets friends and everything like that. It would really, really, really help. I'm itching to get to 2,000. It's so close, and I would love to be able to get there before the bye week. But yeah. Crazy scenes. Crazy scenes. Let's look at the scores. What's it looking like right now? Alrighty. New England and Denver are tied. Need Green Bay to win that game. Come on. Las Vegas has taken the lead back from Denver with 3 minutes left. Wasn't there another? I thought there was 3 4:00 games. Did the other one already end? Arizona, Carolina. Yeah, 26-16. Let me ask you a serious question. Is Carolina the worst team in football? Is that a thing? Are they that bad? Is Matt Rule about to get fired and punch it to the moon? Who knows? Iowa Jets fan. I've shared it with the 0 Jets fans from Iowa. I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. At least I know that you're sharing it with all of the fans in Iowa, not named you. Feels good. I appreciate it. Crazy scenes. Carolina has big problems, Abby. I don't know what's going on with Carolina. They just can't seem to figure it out. Do we play Carolina this year? I hope we do. That seems like a free win. Nah, no Carolina this year. Dang it. How is Houston not in that conversation? Because for me, I think Houston's the worst team in the NFL right now. Chicago is like fighting tooth and nail to be the worst team in the NFL right now. Like they're trying really, really hard to be the worst team in the NFL. They're just not as good as Houston at being bad. You know, that's just the way that it is. They did beat New Orleans. So, guys, I'm going to change the scene real quick. Let me see if this works. No. Okay. Trying to see what's going on. Trying to get him in on here. Trying to bring in a guest. to the live stream. But while we're waiting for that and while we're communicating on that, Robert S., do you think Carolina's head coach gets fired this year? I think so. If they keep playing as bad as they are, I don't think he makes it to the end of the year, man. I don't think he makes it to the bye week. If they keep losing at the rate that they're losing right now, dude, they might not make it to the end of the year. Iowa, it could be because I overvalued how good Indianapolis is. They are terrible. So when the Texans beat them, I moved them up a tier in my book. Another team that is playing really, really badly. Like, really badly. Like, it's insane how bad they're playing. Let me see. I thought Rule would be better. I didn't. I thought he was a rah-rah guy a little bit, and I thought he would be a little bit, I don't know, a little bit over, like, when he did come from Baylor, but I think, he's going to end up being one of those good college coaches, but not a good NFL coach, because I just don't think it translates, like, the rah-rah doesn't, like, his level or type of rah-rah doesn't translate to the NFL. Iowa, Houston is bad. Jax isn't as bad as I thought they'd be. Detroit is better than most people anticipated too. Detroit is the one that's surprising me. That's the one that's really, really surprising me. Detroit playing well is absolutely blowing my mind. I've got a new streaming software, so I'm trying to figure out the guest situation. The Colts do have an issue, like a deep-seated issue, and I don't know what it is at all. Let me just... You know what? No, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to... Give me a second, guys. This is a little infuriating. I didn't want to do it this way, but I'm going to do it this way. We're just going to do it the old school way, and we're going to get him in once we get him in. Okay, let's keep going this. I think our secondary is getting it together. Our linebackers, not so much, especially when we are giving Mosley the bag. I think the biggest problem with our defense specifically is the linebacker room, but I think it's just the lack of play that we're getting out of, like, just one guy. The one guy being, CJ. CJ just isn't playing up to snuff. He isn't playing to the level that we kind of need him to play at. And that's a little bit disappointing because CJ's supposed to be the best linebacker in the group. Now, the real big problem with our secondary that we were having was, personally, Kevin, in my opinion, was the safeties. I felt like the safeties were playing out of this world bad. Like, crazy, crazy bad. But that's kind of the situation that I look at and I go, we got to get better there. We got to do something in that. It is not Curtis Martin. It is not John Abraham. I wish we are taking the best linebacker available in the draft. I don't think so. You know what I think we take in this draft? Really, really high. We're either going to take an offensive lineman really high in this draft, or we're either going to take an offensive lineman or we're going to take an interior defensive lineman, in my opinion. I think those are going to be the keys to this team. Just because I have nothing to base this off of, by the way. Nothing. It's just a gut check, a gut feeling of what I think is going to end up happening. I see why you would think it would be linebacker. I just don't know if this team values linebacker that highly. Are the Broncos going to lose? Are the Broncos losing? Oh, man. It is interesting. It's interesting. We're going to have to see what goes on. And welcome in, everybody, to... Yeah, we can hear you. Guys, stream. Can you hear him? I need the stream to let me know if you can hear Adam joining in to the stream. I appreciate you for stopping by, good sir, and everything like that. Guys, when Adam talks, I need you to let me know if you can hear him. Nope. No? Okay. Let me... No, we cannot. Oh, but this is why. This is why. It's on me. This is on me. Can talk, Adam?
I'm right here.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Hey, we can have a show now.
Yes. Welcome, Adam. So, how was that experience? Because I have to ask, because you obviously do the Virginia Jets fan. You go to a bar, you have that conversation, and you do all of that going into like with your with obviously like your fan club that you do. What were the scenes like in the bar going, like, you get that first quarter, right, where we're 10 points unanswered and we're looking good and Zach's looking good, and then you get that second quarter and that second and third quarter, right, you go into the half and we're losing 20 unanswered points by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, talk me through the roller coaster, the ups and downs, and what went on going into that game.
It was a roller coaster. There were ups, downs. I think we went upside down a couple of times, twisted me all around. I did the hokey pokey and I turned myself around. It took us every single direction that it could possibly take us. And this was the bar, I gotta say, AJ Gators, this was as loud as I've heard it collectively, not just even from the Jets fans, but there were a ton of Eagles fans and a lot of Steelers fans. There were probably about 15 Steelers fans in that bar. And every time the Jets had a good play, there were a couple of them looking from the other side of the bar right at us. One of them had a green bean beard going on too, and just he looked extra menacing with that big white bushy beard that he had going on. But it seemed like each quarter was like a novella unto itself, is how I would say this. It was, the first quarter was pure excitement. It's like, oh my goodness, we're in this game. That was like a fun first quarter. Second quarter, kind of keeping everything kind of as is, but you knew that it's like they got a chance here to really kind of open this game up, maybe make it a double-digit lead or more than that, make it a 2-touchdown game. But then Pittsburgh slowly started to ink their way back. You saw some mistakes from the Jets during the second quarter. Again, the drops, the penalties. Some
the penalties,
like
man.
The penalties were crazy. Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing that just drove us crazy. And here's the thing: the Steelers took a lot more penalties than the Jets did in this game. It just seems like the Jets took theirs at the absolute worst possible times. That was like the biggest thing for me. Like they're on third downs, on defense, spots like that. And when
time out, Adam, time out.
Go ahead.
Because I have to address this. I know that you can't see the chat
I can.
And all of that stuff. You can't even see me because we're doing it through Zoom. I wanted to do it through the Streamlabs thing because it gives me a lot more control, but we weren't getting that working. So I just wanted to get you in here as quickly as possible. But Kevin Luebecki, I don't know how to pronounce this last name, but Kevin goes, I thought Pickett was doing the Mayfield on us. And
Absolutely.
oh my God, was my heart, when Kenny came on, my heart dropped.
Yeah, I'm gonna still try to get Streamlabs going in here so I can like really interact a little bit more. But we're gonna make the best of it. However we can. So, but yes, I mean, as soon as he comes in, it's like, it's Mayfield. Here comes Mayfield.
It's the
This
Mayfield
is exactly
game.
what's gonna happen.
And then the broadcast mentioned the Mayfield game.
Yep.
Oh,
Why wouldn't they?
of course they would.
They should mention the Mayfield game. They wouldn't be doing their jobs if they didn't mention that. And the third quarter, and here's the thing, it's not that the quality of play changed too drastically, but the fans were just so into the game, and it wasn't just because they were playing Renegade by Sticks. They were feeling like it was the new era. Here comes the new Big Ben. It's Pittsburgh. Well, we found out why it's Pittsburgh. It's because he threw 4 picks. That's why his last name is Pickett.
No, he only threw 2.
He threw 2.
Mitch threw the other 2.
Mitch threw the other 2. Well, they forced the 4 turnovers, but he threw them in some interesting spots. So yeah, I've been on a little bit of a roll, like driving back through the rain, making dinner, recording my own video, uploading and jumping on here. So I haven't exactly broken everything down in full detail. But here's the biggest thing. You got to give the biggest props. You can talk about whoever you want. AVT, Corey Davis, the safety stepping up, the defensive line getting a little bit
Joyner.
of a better pass rush. Who is this Joyner you speak of? Who's this guy Joyner? Seth Joyner? Which Becky Joyner? Kirsty? Which Joyner are we praising here today? But I thought the Jets really found an extra gear with about pretty much through the whole fourth quarter. And that was maybe the biggest surprise to me of the whole game, because too many times we've talked about the Jets coaching staff isn't making adjustments. They're just kind of running on fumes. They found the extra gear, and they took this game away from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
The Steelers didn't give it away, even though they had a rookie quarterback. You can make an argument in week 2. Cleveland gave the Jets that game, and the Jets took it. The Jets just snatched it right out of Pittsburgh's hands.
Yeah, we didn't give them a choice.
Play. Go ahead.
We didn't give them a choice this week. We said no. Zach Wilson marched up and down this field, said, we're going to go effing win this game, and he meant it. I think you said it perfectly, and this is why I interrupted you, because I wanted to highlight what you said. I didn't want to gloss over it, because I think you said it perfectly. What you said was, and I'm going to quote it, is the Cleveland gave us a W. The same way we gave Baltimore a W, right? Not today. Today we took this win from the Steelers and shut up Minka Fitzpatrick and his ilk.
Oh my gosh, what a goofball he is, huh? Who got knocked out of the game, I'd like to point out. Where was he during the last drive or 2 of the game?
He did cause that fake fumble at the end there.
Okay. He caused the fake
the
fumble?
Breece Hall fumble?
I don't know. Well, I mean, he went down like he was like playing in the World Cup of Soccer right there. Like he wasn't even moving. Yeah. So, I mean, who knows what that was all about. But you know what? That's fine. I don't mind the disrespect. You know, the only thing that really matters is who scored more points, who got the win. At the end of the day, we've got the Duke. And I'm sure you're going to hear like Mark Madden and all the big Pittsburgh big shots crying. It's like, how can we lose to the Jets? How can we lose to the Jets? Well, you know what? The Jets are better than the league knows. And I thought the coaching staff grew up this game, and that's what excites me the most. You know, we have been killing these coaches. You know, it's like, how soon can we get Jeff Ulbrich out the door? There are a lot of people this week who had given up on Robert Saleh after the Cincinnati game.
That infuriated me.
The biggest Saleh critics, you got to take a pause after this week. You have to.
I think if you're an Ulbrich critic, which was all of us, I think you also have to take a pause at a lot of the takes that you're saying. Like I'm not totally ready to forgive LaMarcus Joyner, right? Because I think that's a crazy thing to do after one game. But you start to maybe understand why, right? You maybe start to understand why they kept him in this game. You maybe start to understand why they believe in him at free safety a little bit more. Same thing goes with Jordan Whitehead. Now you start to understand in this game, because he played really well in this game, you start to maybe understand why they went and signed Jordan Whitehead. We know why they signed Quan, but now that Quan has help up that middle, you really start to see, you know what? This is going in a right way. My next thing that I guess I want to harp on the defense is when are we going to hold CJ accountable? Because CJ is playing really, really bad. And I don't know what it is with CJ, but it might be time to start splitting his reps with Jamin Sherwood. It might be time to start splitting his reps with Marcel Harris, because something's wrong with CJ. While he's still being a productive tackler and getting himself being a part of like these combined tackles, his game and coverage is really, really bad. And there's too many times where he's getting credited with a combo tackle where you can tell like, all he did was slow up the guy enough for the second tackler, and that's not what we saw from him last year. Last year, he dropped big hits. He was really, really good. He was really good tackling and just productive in that secondary, and this year he's not. So while I go get a drink, so I'll be right back, I want you to talk to me about what do you think we saw about this, like from these linebackers and these safeties, and do you think that this game was a fluke play from the linebackers, or do you think, and the safeties, or do you think that this is closer to what we should expect maybe from our safeties and our linebackers? And I'll be back in 30 seconds. I'm just going to go get a quick beverage.
Okay. It's interesting to note, by the way, Jamin Sherwood, for the first time all year, actually played defensive snaps. You know, before this, he had been used exclusively as a linebacker on special team, actually a special teams, not a gunner, but just a player on special teams. So Sherwood actually had his first tackle of the season today. But I really feel that this is not a fluke for this defense. I think it could be a situation where it took them a couple of games to sort of get their communication down. Now, they're going to have an amazing test next week trying to defend that Miami passing game. I don't care who the quarterback is. I don't care if it's Tua, I don't care if it's Teddy Bridgewater, I don't care if it's Dan Marino, I don't care if it's Scott Mitchell. You know, the Jets secondary is going to have a very tall order containing Hill, Waddle, and Mike Gesicki always seems to throw his weight around whenever he sees the green and white. But I really like Quan Alexander. Thank goodness they signed him, because this linebacking core would be in ruins, I think, without him. He hits as hard as anybody on this team. Like when he makes you can hear the pop every time he gets that hit on just right.
That first hit?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I felt the same way last week. I thought he had some big hits last week, but yeah, this week it was another level.
But I think you made a good point when it came to
Turn volume up.
This secondary is going to have a tall order going into the Miami game, because now we're going to have to really cover a lot of really, really, really good receiving threats and all of that stuff. And the silly little mistakes that we saw against but Cincinnati, we're not going to be able to do or have again. We need to have a much, much better game, because you can't be making those types of mistakes against teams that have solid, like, you can't be making those types of mistakes against those types of players.
No, most definitely. And, you know, the Jets definitely had their share of takeaways. They even had the other interception that was called back because of the Lawson penalty towards the end of the first half that wound up leading to that.
Yeah, that's why I say we got 5 interceptions this game.
So it's really 5 interceptions. Yeah, you're exactly right. So, you know, I really wonder if there was a concerted effort to take the ball away, if that's something that Ulbrich really emphasized over the point of the week, if that's maybe it's something CJ pointed out. But there were too many times when the Jets I felt like every single game this year, we've been saying to each other, the Jets need to stop right here. The Jets need a turnover. They need a turnover. And you know what? You don't have to be the best tackling team. You don't have to be the fastest defense. You don't have to be the biggest defense. But if you could be the most opportunistic defense, if you could turn the other team over, it flips the entire game around. And that was one of the biggest differences that we saw today. But also, you know, the pass rush, I thought it was the best the pass rush looked all season. And through the first quarter and a half or so, I was not feeling good about it. But you saw certain players step up. I thought Bryce Huff really made his presence felt. there was a number of times that when you were looking, you could see 47, disrupting the pocket a little bit. JJ had a huge sack. Let's not overlook his sack early in the game. JJ looked good today. I liked what I saw from him. So I wanted to make sure I give him a little bit of love. JFM, I didn't really notice it. What were your thoughts on JFM? I felt like I didn't notice him too much in this game. Did he stand out to you one way or another, or was he was just the guy here?
He was, yeah. He was okay. So, like, remember how I said Jordan Whitehead had a good game? It was more like Jordan Whitehead had a good game because he didn't have a bad game. I didn't see Jordan Whitehead on the field. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't notice him. He wasn't super impactful or super, like, helping the defense win you the game, but he also wasn't a liability. And I think that's a very, very important thing. And Jonathan Franklin Myers, same thing. He had a good game. JFM is tied for second place with the most tackles on the team.
It's hard to believe.
With 7. He had 7 tackles, 3 of them being solo tackles. So while, even though he wasn't being super disruptive in the pass rush or necessarily creating a lot of pressures, he was still doing his job, kind of a thing. And so that's where I look at it and I go, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and be too upset about his lack of, let's say, production or whatever it is. It was more a comment on his, like I said, he wasn't necessarily super visible, but like that's not a bad thing. Sometimes being invisible is kind of a good thing. You don't want to be the reason, you don't want to be the joiner for 3 weeks in a row where we can specifically point to you and say, you're the reason we're losing games. The real reason we're talking about Joyner now is because he showed up in this game in big ways where all Jordan Whitehead did was not be a liability, and that's a good thing. So even though JFM wasn't super visible, he also wasn't a liability.
And you could also say Carl Lawson didn't have a very notable game, but he did have 2 quarterback hits.
Yes, he did.
1 tackle, but 2 quarterback hits. And you know what? I value the quarterback hits much more.
You know who also had 2 quarterback hits?
Quinnen.
Quinnen Williams, absolutely. Yeah, 2 quarterback hits. 6 tackles, 3 of them being solo tackles. Man, Quinnen is probably our best player on defense.
You can make that case. Yeah, you can make that case. Yeah, you can definitely make that case. And, Quinnen's got his critics too. And I think it's mostly because of his draft position. I mean, there were people on the radio saying that, Quincy Williams was about as big of a loss as the Jets could have had, and that he's better than his brother. I'm like, he's definitely not as consistent as his brother.
No. Those people are insane. But let's read some comments. I'll read them to you, obviously, since you can't see them.
Sounds good.
Kevin drops in with a comment talking about Elijah Vera Tucker, who, by the way, what a game out of him at left tackle. What a game. I got to give respect. Respect is due. Buffalo and Jeremy both called that they should move AVT. I was adamantly against it. Very, very much against it. But you know what? Well done to them. His comment is, AVT is a Pro Bowler. Let's build the line around him. And he also added the comment, McDermott actually held it together. So let me ask you this, Adam. I think we can all agree that Elijah Vera Tucker is he's, in my opinion, the best player on offense right now. He is so good at guard. He is so far better at his position at football in guard than any of our other players are in their respective positions. While Garrett Wilson affects the game a little bit more, Zach Wilson, obviously, as the quarterback, affects the game a little bit more. Elijah Vera Tucker, when you look at ranking the players at the position that they play, is so far and away the best player at his position on this team on offense that I feel the gumption and the ability to say, you know what, Elijah Vera Tucker, best player on offense. But what did you think about McDermott and his play at right tackle after, unfortunately, my best friend and my favorite player on this team, Max Mitchell, goes down with that injury?
I should have tweeted you immediately, but I wondered if it was too soon for you. So, but I thought about it, but I just didn't want to disrupt your morning process because I can definitely understand why.
I had the baby, so during games, I make sure to take care of the baby. Yep. And it was so, because I just wanted to weep, and I didn't. What did the Mets do?
No, the Packers just beat the Patriots.
Okay.
Time.
Okay. Good.
Walk-off field goal. You know what? I don't think I should have the Mets on while I'm doing the show with you because I might have an outburst. I don't think we need.
I just thought it might have been the Mets game, and I was just like, oh, what's happening? Because they lost against the two aces. We're with the two aces. This is a Jets channel, not a Mets channel.
We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
McDermott. What did you think of McDermott?
As far as McDermott, my first thing was, I didn't know. The first thing, actually, I'd love to know is at what point did the coaching staff go to AVT and say, hey, big boy, you're starting left tackle this week?
Apparently it was early.
No, none of us knew about it.
Nobody.
No one knew.
They, have you watched the post-game press conference from Saleh? Have you had the ability to?
No, I haven't.
But he mentioned it early on because he got asked. He's like, so when did you guys decide that you guys going to move? And he was like, yeah, pretty early on in the process. We thought, he played some left tackle in college, and we just kept that away from you guys because we didn't want the Steelers knowing and prepping for it. He didn't say all of those words, but that's essentially what he alluded to.
Knew, right? You knew what he meant. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and pretty much at that point, you knew McDermott was coming in. But you know what? If you have to put him on right tackle, if that's the only option for that game, then you know what? You deal with it. I didn't think he was too noticeable one way or another. That's about as complimentary as I could possibly be of him. But the line definitely lacked. The line definitely was not the same. The run game was really not good all day.
No, it wasn't. Even when Max was in.
That was alarming. Even when Max was in, the run game did not work.
We couldn't create any push.
No, and that's one reason why I want to move Vera Tucker back to guard as soon as possible, especially for that reason, because when you run behind him, you can really create some open spaces. Behind left tackle, it's a little bit harder for him to do that in the NFL than he did when he was at USC. So it's going to be very interesting to hear about the health of these offensive tackles, about Cedric, Bremmers, and Dwayne Brown.
Dwayne Brown is the important one to me. Dwayne Brown is the important one to me because if Dwayne Brown is healthy, then my move is you move Elijah Vera Tucker back to right guard, and then Remmers comes in at right tackle. That would be, for me, that would be the key. That would be where I would want to go with this offensive line. Let's go on to the next comment. Kevin, the biggest difference is the old Jets would have settled for a field goal while this Jets went for the touchdown and delivered. Dude, the old Jets would have given up on this game after it was 20-10.
Oh, gosh.
Jeff Smith would have started under center so that we could have kept our quarterbacks healthy.
Why was Jeff Smith even on the field on that first Zach interception? Could someone explain that, please?
Look, we're not getting there. Why? We're not going to talk about it, right?
We're not going
to talk about it. Especially because he ran his route 5 yards short, and that interception is more on Jeff Smith than it is on Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson actually put the ball where Jeff Smith should have been. But I'm not going to take anything away from Sutton. Sutton played that interception so well because he was out of the eye line in the sense of dude, when you're in man coverage, and Zach knew it was man coverage, for him to give up on his man to go make that play for the interception, well done on Sutton. That's super well done. But Jeff Smith, also, you're supposed to be 5 yards up the field, buddy.
Yeah, watch. Last week, everybody killed the safeties, and look how they responded. Jeff Smith will be the team's leading receiver.
250 yards, 6 touchdowns against Miami.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Because that's just how it works.
Yeah, we should have been killing all these guys for years. Apparently they respond to us. We make a bigger impact than we ever knew about. So apparently. Hey, let's embrace it. Yeah, you just got to find somebody to rip every week. So hopefully we don't have to see McDermott start again, but. My definite, it's just rough.
I'd rather see him at right tackle than left tackle.
Oh, unquestionably.
Yeah.
Unquestionably.
He plays at right tackle relatively well for what we expect of him, I think is the best way to say it. Abby with the comment, Mosley needs a compliment. I disagree. I think he has a compliment. I think he needs to play better with Quan Alexander. I think Quan Alexander right now is our leading linebacker. And if CJ just plays better, we can have a really, really good linebacker room with those two. Now, I fear for the future of the linebacker room, but that's a future Tigo problem to worry about.
That can be addressed. You don't have to get a linebacker in the first round in order to drastically upgrade the position. We know that. So, yeah, put it this way, if linebackers and the funny thing, my favorite comments are during the course of the week. Okay, next draft we got to get this, and this, and it changes so much. So. If linebacker and safety do wind up being two of, say, our 3 biggest needs, that's actually a pretty good spot because those are not premium positions.
Yeah, you can get those guys in the 3rd and the 4th round and be solid.
Thank you. Exactly.
And that's
exactly
where
right.
Abby mentioned this earlier before you had joined in, Adam. She was like, I really want the Jets to take the best linebacker available with their first pick that they have. And I went like, look, while I understand the thought process there, we're going to lose Quan, we're going to lose Marcel, and we're going to get a 32 or 31-year-old CJ Mosley. While I understand what you're saying there, like, I would extend Quan Alexander. I would give him a 2-year deal.
I'm fine with that.
A 1-year deal, fully guaranteed, with the second year out, like we do with a lot of our players. You know, I would feel cool with extending Quan, especially if Quan can give us more than 13 games this year, because I don't expect he's had his injury concern. The expectation that he's going to play 17 games is a little bit optimistic, but if he can give us more than 13 or 14 games this year, I would extend Quan. You know, and Quincy was looking good, not great. Good before the injury.
Mm-hmm.
You start phasing CJ out. You phase Jamin Sherwood more in because he'll get the snaps instead of Marcel Harris. CJ becomes more of that veteran player coach thing that you see like these older quarterbacks become. They're like a third quarterbacks coach or a third offensive coach for like new young quarterbacks. I'm less worried about the linebacker room. And then you inject a third or a fourth round linebacker into that conversation. You inject Chad Muma-esque player. I'm cool with that. How many of us wanted Chad Muma going into this draft? And he got taken in the 4th round.
How's Chad Muma even doing? I feel like I haven't
playing
heard his
well
name since
for
the draft
Jacksonville.
happened.
Right, it's
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
He's on Jacksonville, so he must. Yeah, he's on Jacksonville, so he must be good.
But they revamped their entire linebacker room. Like, you take Devin Lloyd and Chad Muma. Like, is he on?
Oh yeah.
Is he on Jacksonville? I feel like that's
Muma.
wrong.
Muma is he's with Jacksonville. You're right.
Yeah. He is with Jacksonville.
Third round. Yeah, third round pick.
Third round. But like that's what I'm saying. You take a linebacker in the 3rd round, dude. I'm cool with that.
They have 4 tackles so far. Not overly exciting, but hey, he's young. He'll get his playing time at some point. That's fine.
Cool. Abby saying that Quinnen Williams is her favorite Jet.
Abby's on a roll.
Dude, when she comes into the chat, she lights it up. I love having Abby in the chat. Zach Wilson.
She'll get people talking one way or another. We've heard that.
Zach Wilson is probably my favorite Jet, but that's just because I played the quarterback position and I've always had a thing for quarterbacks, right? So it is.
Okay.
Kevin. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think for me, AVT is moving towards jersey level territory.
Really?
It's getting to that point. The only jerseys that I have, current Jet jerseys I have 2 Chad Penningtons and 1 Nick Mangold. I had a Jamal Adams. I donated that to Goodwill. But I think AVT is getting to that point where I would trust him enough to where I would get his jersey.
Really?
I think he is that much of a cornerstone. Like, he is like our guy. I think it's going to get to that point with him.
I have and this is wrong of me, but I don't know what it is, but I don't like lineman jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have, like, even though Nick Mangold was my favorite Jet during all those years, I never had a Nick Mangold jersey. I had a Sanchez jersey, but I never had a Mangold jersey. I tend to be, when it comes to jerseys, skill position guys. So, like, for example, this year I'm getting a Garrett Wilson jersey, but I'm also getting a Sauce jersey. So it's like those skill position guys are where, like, I tend to lean a little bit more towards, you know, when it comes to the jersey purchases. But I think Elijah Vera-Tucker, the day we drafted him, I thought he was jersey worthy. I felt so confident in that.
I still remember to this day, my only regret from that draft night is that when we were watching the draft together, the Virginia Jets fans, you have to kind of imagine the setup. So we all sit at about 4 or 5 tables, like rectangular tables, facing one big screen TV. Like, we're all facing like this way. But this direction, if you look to your right, there was another TV. So we're watching NFL Network on this television this way, ESPN is this way, and the way I was sitting, I was watching ESPN. The key is ESPN broke the trade first that the Jets were on the clock. And when that happened, like, instinctively, I knew who it was going to be for, and I literally jumped up. Like, my voice went to, like, another level, like I had just had a couple of helium balloons, because I knew it was going to be ABT. And they're, why are you so excited, man? Why are you so excited? I said, watch, we're about to draft the best guard in the draft, and we're going to have him for 10 years. Just watch.
Yes.
And that trade just looks better by the day.
Yeah.
By the day it looks better.
By the hour, that like none of those guys are on the all the second round picks or whatever that we gave up. None of those guys are on
I mean,
Minnesota anymore.
Was it what Darisaw or somebody? Chris, I think it was Darisaw that went to Minnesota with.
No. Was it Darisaw? Yes, it was Darisaw because Slater went to Chicago, San Diego. No,
San Diego.
Los Angeles.
Same difference.
Yeah.
I still call him San Diego. I don't care.
So it was it was good. It was good. I love that trade. Sergeant Mike, he's in the chat every once in a while, and he always talks about like when you trade up, you have to hit the trades out of the park. And my thing is like point to one trade up situation where the Jets haven't hit that pick out of the park. You know what I mean? I think JJ is legit. He just isn't getting the reps to show that he's legit. Elijah Vera Tucker is a top 10 guard in the NFL. Breece Hall, if he can hold onto the ball in the pass game, might be one of the best running backs in this NFL. Like, truthfully and honestly, he is so elusive. Did you see today? Michael Carter went down during one of his runs after first contact. I think it's the first time in his career.
Yes, first time. Yeah.
First time in his career that I've ever seen him get the first guy take him down. I was trying to figure out who it was on the Steelers because I wanted to give him props. Well done. You brought down one of the most elusive backs in the NFL.
No, it was. I bet you Carter, it's driving Carter nuts right now.
Oh, yeah.
Just think about it. I have a note here on the Zoom thing. It says remaining meeting time 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure just to make sure you knew that too. So, okay. I'll throw a question to you. At what point did you feel confident the Jets were going to win this game? Did it take the touchdown? Did it take the absolute last play of the game, or was it even sooner than that?
I never, like if I'm being honest, I never really lost faith in us losing this game. If I'm being like truthfully honest, I went into this game thinking we're going to get a Jets win. And then I knew, like, even when they went and they were 10 points over us, I was like, this is only 10 points. The Jets are going to turn on and do something magical. Watch. And if my friends were here, like, they could be a testament to that. My wife heard me say this. I was like, watch out. I don't care. This game's not over. The Jets are going to win this game. Watch. Like, you're going to see it happen. And then it happened. I really believed in this team going in on it. But while we're talking about the Zoom thing, what's the update on the Streamlabs situation? Did that work? Did that download work? What happened there?
I don't think so. I guess it just wasn't the best time to. How did he plan to use? Let's see. Let me see here. Live streaming. I got an idea. Let me try this. That's yep. That's still Zoom. Continue. Welcome to Streamlabs. Blah blah blah. Sign in with your streaming account. This is not the best time for me to be doing this right now.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to see if it was going to be easier because I thought it would ultimately end up being easier, just a link that you could join because I really like this software, but it doesn't seem like it is. Worst case scenario, if the meeting time runs out, I'll send you another link to the meeting and we'll get another 45 minutes.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah. So,
but I think for me, one of the most pivotal
put your video
plays
back
in
on
this
Zoom.
game. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Your video on Zoom.
Okay, let me go. Let me get this back here. Start video. Here it comes.
Yeah,
there we go.
Now we can see.
Yeah. So I thought one of the pivotal plays in this game, and I put this on the video that I made, was when Pittsburgh had 1st and 10 on the Jets 31, 4:23 to go in the game. They had just converted the 3rd and 3, the long pass to George Pickens over Michael Carter, right? The next play after that is when Kenny Pickett fumbles the ball, and it's a 5-yard loss when the running back Warren recovers. By the way, can we fall on a fumble already? Can the Jets recover a fumble that the other team has? Just one time. Can I see that? Just I had to get that out. But that fumble, don't overlook that loss of 5 yards because it was the next play where Pickett felt the need on 2nd and 15 to throw that pass to Freiermuth, and that was the pass that Carter intercepted that propelled the Jets to go down the field and ultimately win the game. I don't overlook that fumble and then before the interception. It was a big, big turning point in this game. And once that pick happened, I said, we have a very good chance. My biggest concern is we were going to score too soon and leave too much time on the clock and have like some big penalty. I wasn't afraid of Kenny Pickett. I was just afraid of us having a terrible pass interference penalty or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For me, the biggest fear going into this game was always going to end up being we left too much time on the table. And that's why when I saw the clock running down, I was like, why isn't Robert Saleh calling a timeout? I was like, I understand why. Because they're not playing for the tie. They're playing for the win, and they want to end the game on their terms.
I loved it. Yeah,
they want to end the game on their drive. Absolutely fantastic. Loved that. Loved that out of them. Let's go back to the comment section. Kevin goes, we need to activate Mims over Smith. Look at Pickens today. He is a mismatch on smaller DBs. Here's the thing. While I agree with you, who are you activating? You're going to activate Mims over Smith. But then you're, like, while I agree with Smith shouldn't be necessarily activated as a wide receiver, I don't want to mess with how well the special teams unit is playing. Because the special teams unit is killing it. So what do you think about the Mims over Smith kind of a situation? While I want to see more of Mims because I still believe in Mims, we do play Corey Davis in the slot quite a bit, and the guy is 6'3", 212.
How many times did we scream about this during the offseason? I was certainly on board with moving Davis to the slot a whole lot more because it's in that heavy man coverage where he tends to not succeed as well. A lot of his biggest plays tend to be in between the hash marks. And that's how I would like to see him be used.
Those big body catches
works.
In the middle of the field.
It works.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I had to keep talking to like one or two people. My friend Ryan, who stopped by, who's on his way to he's moving to Nashville soon. It's the last game I might be able to ever watch with him. You know, and a former coworker of mine said, "Man, I just don't like Corey Davis." I'm like, you're just watching the drops, right? Like, I just don't like Corey Davis. And every time Davis would have a catch, Ryan would say the same thing. Well, that's a good catch, and he didn't drop that one. Well, it's a good catch, he didn't drop that one. By about the fifth catch, I'm like, you sound like a broken record. Get over yourself. I finally had to say, stop. The guy is a playmaker. He's big, he's physical, he's tough. Yes, he'll have a drop, which will drive you nuts once in a while. But let's face it, Zach trusts him, and he can help you move the ball down the field.
And Zach doesn't throw. On this team. And Zach doesn't throw the easiest catchable, like the easiest ball to catch either, right? Now, I'm not taking it away from Zach. The reason we drafted Zach is because he has a top 5 NFL arm when it comes to arm strength. Right? He's going to throw. He's throwing 105-mile-an-hour fastballs. You got to get an extra padding in your catcher's mitt if you're going to be playing as his catcher. But like the whole idea is, we got him because he's going to be able to fit those balls into a tight window. He's going to be able to do those things. That's one of the reasons why we brought him in, is because he's so good at doing that. So, that being said, I agree with you. He would be a mismatch, but I get it. Abby, we need a young linebacker bad before it gets too late if Mosley goes down. I agree with you, but we have that right now. We have Sherwood. We have Hamza. I don't know how much I want to believe in Hamza, but we have those guys, And as much as I'd like to figure out what they are sooner rather than later, we do have people there. Ronald Perry, thank you for stopping by. Haven't seen you in the chat before. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Adam Y2K also has a challenge. Channel. Go subscribe to him. It is what? Y2K New York Wicker Media Sports.
NY Sports Wicker Media. That's the name of my channel. NY Sports. Oh, you put me back on as Adam B. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think I had. But NY Sports Wicker Media. That's the name of it.
Kevin. Ronald Perry was telling us that Wilson is his favorite Jet. Kevin letting us know that Devin Lloyd was also on Jacksonville, that their linebacker room is brand spanking new, and that's true. Yep. Abby says, I'm done with Mims. I think it's too late for him now. I don't think it's ever too late for a player, especially with a player who's that talented. Like, he's just so physically talented.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's going to take injuries for this to happen. Put it this way. If our biggest issue was, if we get the hashtag free Mims thing going again, because that was a thing about a year ago, that Mims wasn't getting enough playing time. I wish that would be our biggest issue, because we'd be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, if we're worried about wide receiver 5.
Yeah, but with these 4 wide receivers, with what we have,
Who are you
as long
starting
as
him
they
over?
stay healthy, as long as they stay healthy, I mean, honestly, it's not keeping me up at night. It's not going to cost me any sleep.
Me neither.
It's just not. I'm sorry. It's a pick that at the end of the day may not work out here, but you're going to have a few misses along the way, and Mims may just not have been the right fit for this new system. He may have been a better fit for what we had at the time.
Yeah, and the thing that we got to remember is that there is a good to fair chance that Corey Davis maybe isn't on this team next year, and his role takes a big jump. Now, I don't see why we would ever get rid of Corey Davis, especially with a contract that's like that, built that well, but you never know. There is still possibility for him to be a valuable member of this team, and every year somebody's going to get hurt in the wide receiver room, and he's next man up, and that's just the way that you got to look at it. Connor, thanks for stopping by, dropping in with the Go Jets. Appreciate you. Cameron Trammell with the Miles Jack comment. I don't know what that's at. Charles M., thank you for stopping by, and says, as the great Bill Parcells used to say, Zach took off his Huggies today. We finally have our QB1. He goes on to say that Zach will get better at tempering his throws as he gets more reps. And I think that goes the other way as well. These wide receivers will get more used to catching his balls as time goes on. As well, it's a two-way street, but I do absolutely think that Zach Wilson needs to add like a slider, right? Right now, all he's throwing is heat, 4 seams, 105-mile-an-hour fastballs. If he can add a slider, which is like the fastest of the off-speed pitches, I'd be cool with that.
Hey, I'm just glad that one touchdown that he threw at the end of the game, it was only about a 5-yard pass.
Yeah.
Wasn't far at all, but, so let's not overlook that one.
But the other thing is like he does struggle with the short passes, right? The easy passes is where he struggles, which is, we will get him back in the stream. Give me a second, guys. But that's where Zach struggles, is with those types of passes, which is insane when you think about it. Boom, 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 boom. Beautiful. And Adam is coming back soon. And then Sergeant Mike, thank you for stopping by. We were talking about you earlier. Couldn't stop in until the Pats lost. No, I get it. You gotta watch it. I was keeping an eye on it in the background, but man, does Green Bay look bad. Green Bay and New England look bad, and they look like, whoop, oh, no, gotta stop the sex bots. Oh, no. Guys, I've made it. I'm a YouTube star now. I'm a YouTube star. I'm getting the porn bots. And Adam's back. There he is.
I'm right here.
Yep. I was dealing with porn bots.
Oh, Iowa Jets fan is here?
He was here earlier.
Oh, okay.
Sergeant Mike stopped by saying that he couldn't stop into the stream or hang out until he saw the New England Patriots lose. And I was like, I can respect the dedication. The Pats are now 1-3.
The fact that Bailey Zappi hung around as long as he did with Aaron Rodgers, that is pretty. You got to give credit to I don't even know who to give credit. I only saw so much of the game, but the fact that Bailey Zappi, my gosh, hung out in there as long as he did.
Green Bay's not good right now, man. I don't know what it is. They're just not playing well.
Losing Devontae Adams might have been their first problem, but they got some players back. I know Jared Alexander didn't play in this game, but their offensive line is back and healthy. So, yeah, Green Bay's got to take it up another level.
Yep.
It's not just the offense, because they allowed a lot of points to New England in this game. A lot.
Yep, absolutely. Sergeant Mike, the plan when running on first down is to get to 2nd and 5. Zach had to deal with 2nd and 14 repeatedly. So, Mike, the other thing with that is that we would get to 2nd and 5, run a play on 2nd and 5, shoot ourselves in the foot with a penalty, and now we're 2nd and 15 because of a 10-yard penalty. But you're absolutely right. We have to be able to, and I think a big part of that was we were trying to get the run game going, and I like that. One of the things that I haven't mentioned, but like the ratio of run to pass was much closer to what I wanted to see. Zach dropped back to throw the ball 36 times. It was 37 passes because of the Braxton Berrios pass. Right? Yep. So he had a total of 37 dropbacks, but we ran the ball 29 times. That is much closer to where I want to be. 40 passes, 30 run plays. If we can be in that ratio constantly, woo, watch out, because that's where I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be interested in finding out some deeper numbers on Zach's performance, because it's very easy. Like certain people, like former general managers that we once had, who might work for ESPN, they're gonna always go to Zach Wilson's completion percentage. That is the biggest thing that they go to as to why Zach is not going to work out. And they're gonna look at Zach and say, "Oh, he completed 50% of his passes. Not good enough." You have to watch and see how under duress he was for the vast majority of this game. There were times I was just thankful that he got the ball out, because Joe Flacco wouldn't have had a chance. It would have been a 10-yard sack a bunch of times if it had been him. But you saw
in the first quarter, just to give you some context, in the first quarter, I think the stat was on all of his dropbacks, and like in the totality of all of his dropbacks in the first quarter, he was under pressure on like 72% of them.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? Even though we're happy it worked out with ABT at left tackle, the bottom line is this: the offensive line did not do as well as we wanted it to do. It run or pass blocking or run blocking, either one. So yeah, we definitely have to hope for some new blood this week. Whether it's Dwayne Brown getting healthy, I don't know what it is. I mean, thank God ABT is turning to be a jack of all trades at this point. I mean, thank goodness.
Dude, if McGovern goes down, my first choice is AVT goes to center.
Yep. He'll get that at some point. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
But that's more like when the rest of the offensive line is healthy, then McGovern can go down.
Oh my gosh! There was another thing that was interesting to me. The more I was watching this game, I thought, the Jets drives aren't lasting very long. I went through each drive that the Jets had and just looked at the time of possession. And we did not have, outside of the touchdown, I'm going through each and every one. The touchdown drives were, 3 minutes, 18 seconds, 6:05, and 4:28. Outside of that, every drive that we had was 3.5 minutes or less.
Really?
Even the field goal drive. It was 2:16, 3:32. 57 seconds, 1:39, 2:12, 1:07, 2:14, 2:11. Stop me already.
Wow.
The longest drive we had was 6 minutes, and that was with a touchdown drive at the end of the game, and that was by 2 full minutes. So we did not create sustained drives in this game, and that's something that I want to see more of going forward.
But I think that'll happen once we get more consistent offensive line play.
I hope so, but I don't know if we're going to get it with this lineup. I know it was their first week together, but how much can you really expect, especially if Connor McDermott is one of those 5?
But we have to remember that players like Dwayne Brown are coming back. Players like Mike Remmers are going to be stepping into this role. We're going to be getting a lot of improved offensive linemen. So Connor McDermott shouldn't play this coming week. Elijah Vera Tucker should be able to move back to guard, and now we're going to be able to create some push in the run game. So, absolutely. Charles M., New England and Green Bay all of a sudden look like winnable games. I think Green Bay always was really winnable. I don't believe in this this New England game. I think New England was always really, really winnable because I don't believe in this New England team at all. I think they are absolutely abysmal. And the thing that I'm a little bit offended by is that Mac Jones got hurt. So now there's a good to fair chance we won't be able to face Mac Jones if he's still out. And I want to beat New England fair and square with their quarterback. And I want to pummel them into the dirt. But now we're going to face Zappy. We're going to give New England an excuse. Oh, it's Bailey. What do you expect?
Zappy didn't look bad.
No, but it's against Green Bay, and Green Bay doesn't look good this year at all. And the Green Bay game was one of those games where I was like, I marked as a W on when I did my predictions, not because I didn't believe. I thought Green Bay was going to be better than what they're actually showing us. But my thing is like, dude, they're going to be coming back from London on a short week,
right,
to play us. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that every day of the week. They're coming back short from traveling overseas, and there's a time difference, and they're not going to be able to prepare for it. I don't care that we're playing at Lambeau. That should be a win.
I want to say, I think should is a little strong. It can be a win. I'd say the one game that suddenly looks a whole lot more winnable is Denver. I was dreading going to Mile High Stadium, but you know what? Randy Gregory and Javonte Williams both went out of this game against the Raiders today with knee injuries. That team is a mess right now.
Dude.
And a lot of it has to do with the coaching. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. And when I was looking at the Denver game, it was, for a long part of this offseason, was the only game that I looked at outside of the Bills games where I said, this is 100% a loss. Not because I think Denver's that good, but because playing at Mile High is that hard. And I thought Denver was good enough.
And Denver was the only team that shut the Jets out last year.
Yeah.
Which might be hard to believe, but yeah, we got beat pillar to post in that game.
And
so, maybe we have a revenge game. But I'll tell you, if Javonte Williams is out, and I'm telling you, he looks like he left on crutches. He's going to be out for a bit.
Yeah.
That's a big loss for that offense. Now you just have Melvin Gordon, who feels like he's been around 10 years.
Yeah. It's interesting to look at it because, like, a lot of these teams that should have been like we should have been like these are like teams that we should lose to. One, because I think the way that the Jets look, I think the Jets have been really competitive. I'm talking about this in all of the games, not just like the Cincinnati game. We weren't really that competitive in. With the Baltimore game, the Cleveland game, the Steelers game, we were really competitive in all of those games. And the reason we lost the Ravens game as bad as it is because of two 55-yard plays. We gave up like 80 or 90 yards on 2 plays, and both of those plays resulted in touchdowns. What would that game look like if Bryce Hall does his job and gets a hand in there?
And I'll give I got to throw a little shade at the offensive game plan in that game, starting with the 3 tight ends and all of that.
Yeah.
It was bad pre-planning, bad execution, bad against the team that, let's face it, doesn't beat themselves. That's one of the best things. If I have one concern about New England, it's that they're a team that doesn't really beat themselves with dumb mistakes. And the Jets are going to have a hard time, sustaining a good season. They'll win a few games here and there. They could do it. But if they're going to have a good, long winning streak, they have to learn to not beat themselves. Because if you get beat by Buffalo, a team that has more talent, you can accept that, you can understand that, learning experience, move on. But if you lose to a team that you're more talented than, because of the lack of execution, a lack of focus, that's where you start to have a problem. And we are still seeing some of those mistakes. And over the course of the season, they have to get drastically reduced. I want to say cut out. That might be a little bit unrealistic, but drastically reduced. We want to see this team mature and grow up over the course of the season.
I think a good thing that you can say about this team, this current Jets team, and what we're doing right now is that the big picture things are working. The offensive scheme works in this NFL. This defensive scheme works in this NFL. And all we need to start doing now is the little things better. And if we start doing the little things better, the 5-yard out routes, hitting a receiver in the flats, hitting a screen, if we can do those things better,
then doing the razzle-dazzle where the quarterback catches the ball from the running back, that would be nice also.
But you know what I mean?
God, that definitely scare the hell out of me. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Woo!
But if we do the little things, if we do those tiny things a little bit better, watch out, because this team can really be disruptive. Let's wrap up the comments here so that we can wrap up the stream. Sergeant Mike, our first down runs were killing us. I agree with running to balance offense, but 1st and 10 is the best down for passing. Look, while I agree with the sentiment, 1st down is the best down for passing when you've established that you can run the ball effectively on 1st down. There's a dichotomy there. You can't pass the ball on every 1st down if you're not running the ball effectively on 1st down. And so while I like the idea of my favorite play call on 1st and 10 is a play action pass. It's my favorite play call.
Oh man. That may be the biggest difference in this offense from weeks 1 through 3 to week 4. Because you couldn't do play action with Joe Flacco. With Zach Wilson, it worked today. The play action was done. And last year, Zach wasn't even that great at play action. I thought that was a big step up that he took this year. And I want to say one other thing real quick, because I know you said we're winding down. people asked me before the season when we were doing the streams with Jeremy, with Nick, with everybody, Green Bean, what do you want to see from Zach Wilson this year? I didn't give numbers. I didn't talk about yards. I didn't talk about touchdowns. I didn't even talk about interceptions. I didn't talk about sacks. I didn't even talk about how many wins the team had. I said, I need to see a game when Zach takes them down the field in adverse situations and leads them to a victory. You know what? He did it today. He may not have won the game with a touchdown pass, but he did it his first game back against a pretty good defense. Not a great defense, but a defense that had some players on it. And he made this thing work with, let's say it, a ragtag offensive line. You got to respect it.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Like like last year we saw it in the Tampa game where Zach marched down the field but didn't close it out, right? Rookie mistakes, but we saw that he could march down the field in 2 minutes. This year, marched down the field, closed it out, removed the rookie mistakes. The last 2 drives, he went 10 of 12 for like 130 yards. It's impressive, man. It's an impressive stat line. And going on to like a different like comment that happened earlier is like Zach is going to start shutting up the haters about, like, I always believed that Zach was our QB1. I always believed that Zach was legit. And I know that it's only one game. I get that. But what we saw from him this game made me feel really confident in him. The throws that he was making, the trying to get the ball out and not taking silly sacks and not trying to get... He got sacked once today. Once. And that was after he extended the play and he tried to get the ball out and he couldn't. He got sacked once today. It was unfortunate that it was by Alex Highsmith. I would have preferred if it was somewhere else because now people are going to keep talking about Alex Highsmith being a good edge rusher when he's not. But like the play for me that really showed Zach Wilson's growth from last year to this year was the Cam Hayward forced fumble recovery pitch catch, toss the ball out. Because that's a play where you go, not only was Zach in crunch time and showing that he has excellent hands. I kind of believe Zach in his post-game press conference. He's like, I got the best hands on the team. Kind of believe him a little bit. But not only was he able to recover that, he had the wherewithal and the knowledge to know, I have to get this ball out of my hands to the line of scrimmage so that it's not a sack and a loss of 7 or 8 yards. Because then we can go to 2nd and 10 instead of 2nd and 17. And that... It's the exact opposite from what we saw from Kenny Pickett, right? Kenny Pickett gets under pressure. Kenny Pickett gets under pressure, starts to escape, is about to get sacked, and what does he do? He forces a bad ball to Pat Freiermuth, interception.
Oh my gosh! Can I read you the sad tweet of the day?
Real quick. But like we saw that a lot from Zach Wilson last year. We didn't see that today. It's growth, forcing. Hey. I'm going to escape. I'm going to get the sack out. Is anybody open? No. Throwing the ball out immediately. I'll live to see another down. I loved seeing smart quarterback play from Zach. What is the sad tweet of the day?
That's a great point. So this is from a guy. I'm not even going to mention his name because he doesn't deserve it. I'll just say he has 4 followers. So right there you get an idea. I have seen more, apparently a Jets fan. I have seen more from Pickett in 10 minutes than Wilson in 1.5 years. What the hell was this guy?
Wait, try it. One more time.
This is quote. I have seen more from Pickett in 10 minutes than from Wilson in 1.5 year. He's saying 1.5 years, as if Zach Wilson has played a full year and a half, number one. And number two, like Kenny Pickett was actually making a positive difference aside from 1-yard runs across the goal line. Because that's about all he was really doing that was anywhere near impressive.
Look, Kenny...
This is just comical.
When Kenny came in, that offense looked revitalized. I'm going to give them credit. That offense looked different when Kenny got in. But to say that Kenny looked anything but like a rookie quarterback is just a fallacy. He looked like a rookie quarterback making rookie mistakes. Did he show us that he could get the ball out on time? Absolutely. But did he make any throw that I look at and I go, damn, look at that? No. Mitchell Trubisky had the best throw that didn't count of the football game. And it was that touchdown in the back of the end zone to Deontay Johnson.
Johnson.
Like,
Yep.
that throw, dude, that was perfect. He put it in the only place Deontay Johnson could get it, where Sauce and Joyner couldn't. Deontay just couldn't bring it down. Let's wrap up with these comments. It's your boy. Yeah, should is a strong word. The Jets are in a similar situation of the Lions, in my opinions. Wins are nice this year, but the team needs to show growth even in losses and be competitive. And that's a great, great comment.
Well said.
We should be in all of these games. But the thing that's more important, and I've said this multiple times, by the end of the year, the thing that matters the most is we need to know what we have in Zach Wilson, and we need to show that we're competitive. That's it. Because next year, we're going to have another draft and another free agency, and we're going to have another influx of talent, because Joe Douglas is that dude when it comes to drafting. We'll be able to, and there's no way we're going to lose 5 offensive tackles next year again, right? Like, it's just impossible.
Well, hopefully we don't go through 9 safeties like we did last year.
That too. Like, it's
Let's not forget.
This is a great comment by It's Your Boy, who I don't think is actually a Jets fan. I think he's just been watching Jets football. It's Your Boy. What fan do you support if you're still, like, what team do you support if you're still in here? Great YouTube person, by the way. He was in here for my live stream the other day. Great comments, great insight. Love having It's Your Boy on the stream. Sergeant Mike wrapping it out. The good thing with Zach is you can tell the offensive line, you can tell the O-line to just cut the D lineman down instead of trying to maintain your block for 5 seconds for Flacco. It's an interesting take. Zach is going to get the ball out quicker and has the elusiveness that if those defensive linemen get up, he can escape. But I don't know if you're coaching the chop block from your offensive lineman.
Nah, not a good idea. I would like to see in the future, I mean, a few more RPOs for Zach. You know, we didn't really see that as at all today, one bit. That is something, if you can trust the offensive line, I mean, the kid's got mobility. I'm not wanting to turn him into Jalen Hurts, but you know what? Now and then when you have a 3rd and short and everybody's expecting Hall or Carter to run up the middle, you know, Zach could make that type of a play work. So in select spots, let's see Zach run the ball with the ball a little more.
I think we were scared because of the knee this game.
Looks good to me.
Looked great to me.
I'm not worried in the least.
It looked fantastic, but I think that's what they were a little bit worried about. Was the knee. Sergeant Mike clarifies his comments a little bit by saying, what I meant for the O-line and cut blocks of the D-line is that you don't need a superstar offensive line to do cut blocks. However, you do need a star offensive line to run block, so we should pass the ball more for now. And I don't know if that's true. Morgan Moses was an elite run-blocking right tackle last year for the Jets. He was absolutely abysmal in pass pro. Does that make him a great offensive lineman? I don't think so.
Nope.
I think it's easier to run block because these guys can go hit something. It's harder to absorb a 250-pound tackle coming at you, where it's easy, or edge, coming at you, where it's easier to throw 300 pounds at somebody and move them. You know what I mean? Especially when you have that kind of weight on somebody. What are your thoughts there? You think it's easier to run block or pass block?
It all depends pretty much on your body makeup, doesn't it? I'm trying to think.
Look at Icky and Evan, like Icky and Charles Cross.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair point. Yeah, I mean, this is the type of thing that I'm trying to understand more of, is like what makes a good tackle versus a guard versus a center. Like, why is this player best suited to play this position? Why are they better at this but not better at this? Whether it's mobile, it's like, is it lower body strength? Is it upper body strength? Is it quickness? It's all this type of stuff.
I think it's length too.
Yeah, but what you want to make sure you do have, I felt last year we were a much better run blocking offensive line than we were pass blocking.
Yeah, statistically you can see that.
Right, George Fant was the only one, I think, on the entire line who was better at pass blocking than he was run blocking. I mean, AVT, the Doctor, Moses, McGovern, same thing. So when you have a situation like that, you need to have a little bit more balance on the line. I just want to be able to, I just want a multifaceted offensive line. That's all I'm saying. You just can't have it dominate one side and feel that it's complete, because it isn't. Which one's harder? Hey, there's plenty of people who know more about the game than I ever will, who could probably talk to you about that. But it is interesting how hard it seems to be to find an offensive line. I always think about quarterbacks being the toughest position, but there are a lot of offensive linemen who do not pan out in this league. It's pretty amazing.
It's hard when you have a position that you have to fill 5 of them. There's 5 of them. And if one of them's bad, it's like a chink in armor. Like, if one of them's bad, you can exploit that. So it's hard to find 5 good offensive linemen. Very hard.
Let alone depth. Because
depth is impossible. The fallacy that is to have offensive line depth. When people like to yell at Joe Douglas, why didn't we have offense? Dude, that's a fallacy. Nobody in the league. Nobody has depth at offensive tackle.
I mean, there's a reason why we're signing the guys that we are. I mean, we had to grab somebody off the Houston Texans practice squad. Think about that. That's one step away from the XFL, okay? So, it's one of those things where it used to be during the preseason games, you know, when the Jets would play the backups the whole game, be like, oh, the offensive line that just isn't holding up. When was it ever supposed to? Put it this way. If you have a really good offensive line on depth, guess what? A year from now, they're going to be gone, and they're going to be starting somewhere because you're not going to keep them under contract very long, and you're going to have to cut somebody eventually, and they're going to be needed by half the league if they're that. Because there's always injuries, and there's always guys who don't pan out. So we took Nick and Brick and Brandon Moore, I dare say, for granted. A lot of us did at the time.
Oh yeah,
we liked them, we appreciated them, but we didn't know how good we had it. By the way, while we're talking offensive line, Jim Sweeney and Marvin Powell, rest in peace. God bless. And thank you for all you did and all the best to your families. I wanted to just make sure they got a little bit of respect on this.
No, yeah, absolutely.
But when you had those 3 guys, 3 stalwarts, not just Nick and Brick, you got to throw in Brandon Moore. He was there 10, 11 years. No wonder that we were so good and made playoff appearances for as long as we did. And they played every game. Mangold missed 3 to 4 games until his last season, and Brandon Moore, I don't think, missed a game after his first season. Maybe one after his first season. Moore was a rock. It wasn't – DeBrick just gets the credit because he was left tackle. But we had a wall. And now when we're struggling to plug in the holes, we should just appreciate it that much more what we had when we had it. And you know what? All the credit to the GMs, the coaches, and the scouts back then who figured it out. Because now we got to do it again. And it's harder to do it now
than ever. And the thing, too, is you have to give credit to Joe Douglas. Because Joe Douglas continues to find offensive linemen that play well. Because if you look at Mekhi Becton, if it isn't for the injuries, he was playing at an elite level at left tackle. And he would have been an all-time great left tackle. Got him drafted in the first round. Trading up for Elijah Vera Tucker, possibly the best offensive lineman in this draft. Having the wherewithal to believe in George Fant, even though I don't, and I still don't, and we get that year that we get from him last year, going out and signing Morgan Moses, finding Nate Herbig, because Nate Herbig got cut, and bringing him in, and he's a great backup guard, going out and finding Dwayne Brown and Remmers and Ogbehi and all of these guys who are still in free agency, signing Laken Tomlinson.
Yeah, as good as we want yet, but you did bring in a leader, and I think he's only getting better as it goes on.
Dude, he's had a new left tackle partner every single game.
Every week. Thank you. Can you imagine? I don't know what it would be like, but AVT and Laken together on the left side. I wonder how that would work pass blocking wise. Because we know they could run block, but with the pass blocking, I wonder how long they could push that. But it's
I just don't. AVT doesn't have the length to be a tackle, so the problem would be when we start to face more elite edge rushers. We didn't face any really elite edge rushers today, and so while Highsmith is good, he's not elite. As the year goes on, when we start facing more elite, you know who has a scary pass rush? Miami. I wouldn't want to necessarily see Miami's pass rush against the AVT at tackle. That's why I want to move him back to guard.
I do too. I do too, but you have to do what you have to do. In this spot, I'm sorry to use a cliche, but when you have 3 guards that you're feeling pretty good about, between AVT, Tomlinson, and Herbig, if your tackles are that lackluster, I mean, you got to move one of them out, and the best option for that is AVT. I would rather have him at right tackle than left tackle if that's what it came to. That's why my biggest hope is that Dwayne Brown is ready to go for this week against Miami.
Too.
That could be very, very important.
Very, very
against
big.
Phillips, against Agba, against those 2 guys in particular.
All right, let's finish up these comments. When I saw our schedule against the AFC North, I immediately claimed that Salah would be crowned the king of the North, but Zach got hurt, and that killed my T-shirt sales as I was expecting a 4-0 start from the Jets. Sergeant Mike continues on to go, one more reason for the demise of the Pats was the retirement of their offensive line coach, Scarnecchia. If possible, we should try and find one of his longtime offensive linemen and see if we can hire them as an offensive line coach. Also, seems like some offensive linemen don't care about their teammates. It wasn't a Jet game, but saw a guard throw his defensive lineman as he was going down into the back of the legs of his offensive tackle. Luckily, the offensive tackle was not hurt. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, we saw that with Becton last year. Like, you're just gonna throw a defensive tackle into the back of the knee of a 6'9", 350 million pound like tackle. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Any other comments?
No. I think that's everything, guys. Thank you all for stopping by the stream and hanging out and being here. Adam, thank you for joining in and being a part of the stream and dealing through all the growing pains of this software. I got to figure it out and all that stuff. But guys, Adam, let the people know where you're live and where you drop all of your content.
All right. So on YouTube, you can find me at NY Sports Wicker Media. And on Twitter, you can find me at, looks like my screen name, WA2K, WA2K _. 1999. So WA2K _ 1999. I just put a video up right before I came on with Tigo. I do this every single Sunday. The 3 plays you might not recall that affected the outcome of this Jets game. So I always do, every week I do 5 bold predictions for the game. By the way, some this week I got very right and some I got embarrassingly wrong. I was 1 week early on my LaMarcus Joyner touchdown.
Yep.
1 week early. It was close. And I do my confidence picks where I pick the winner of every game and rate them most confident to least confident. And man, I love what I do. It's a lot of Jets. It's some Rangers. Well, I do Mets content, but that looks like that's going to be fading away relatively soon.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Believe. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for stopping by. This is obviously Talking Jets with Tigo. We do content daily, sometimes multiple times a day. Lots of content slated for this week, especially after a Jets win. But I'm trying to ramp up the content and all of that stuff. Guys, we are so close to 2,000 subscribers. So if you can share the channel with anybody and everybody who is out there, would really, really appreciate it. We are 200 away from 2,000. So let's get there. We're going to be doing another live stream Tuesday night at 10 o'clock. So be here or don't. I don't care, but come hang out. It'll be a good time. I promise. And last